What are the secrets to success when it comes to real estate as a career? We're going to find out with our sales director on the Carrie Ann Carter Group, Kevin Coulter. Kevin, welcome back today. We're so glad to have you.
Thank you very much, Carrie Ann.
There's lots to talk about, Kevin, because there's been a lot of buzz out there. There's a lot of shift and change in this ever evolving, beautiful business of real estate that you and I are passionate about. So I thought it'd be wonderful to have you on board today for a myriad of reasons, but most importantly, leading into 2024 and all that we're doing on our team to prepare our team for a powerful, powerful year of success. I wanted you to give the audience some feedback or some insight, if you will, on what you see as the power play to be a success story. What are your
Sure.
thoughts?
Yeah. So that's easy to answer. When I was an agent, I always kind of leaned toward opportunity. I always wanted to put myself in front of opportunity. I didn't care what kind of opportunity it was. I just wanted to put myself in front of that opportunity because I found out if I put myself in front of that opportunity, good things happen.
Mm-hmm.
So what is opportunity? Well, opportunity could be an open house. You've done maybe an open house at the same property 3 weekends in a row, right? But not only do you have to put yourself in front of that opportunity, just as important, you have to have that positive mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to go into it with that positive mindset, no negativity, and just good things happen from that. That's one thing we talk about with our team is, just that really positive mindset. Get yourself in front of opportunities, whether you're at an event or you're at an open house or you're on the phone having conversations with your sphere, you're door knocking, you're visiting neighbors at an open house. It's just, you have to get yourself in front of those opportunities. And, sometimes when you're an agent and you have your calendar and you're kind of going through your calendar and you're doing your calls and maybe you don't have any opens this weekend, just get out and hit open houses, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you just get yourself out there and the opportunity, will come along. Maybe you're out doing an open house and you have a great conversation with an agent and they're super positive. So that positive energy kind of goes back and forth. And then you hit the grocery store on the way home and you're chatting with someone in line because you got a really good story from the agent and you hit it off and had a good positive conversation. And then it just flows to the grocery store and you're in line with someone. And next thing you know, they're
It's a normal
thinking
day.
about a lifestyle transition, right?
Yeah, it's totally
and
true.
It's just that's really the key to being successful, really, no matter what you're doing in life, but especially real estate. You really just have to put yourself in front of those opportunities.
Well, it's a people business. And the premise behind our philosophy anyway here with the Carrie Ann Carter Group is truly about helping people. All different stories. It doesn't matter where the individual that we have the opportunity to meet, whether it's a past client or somebody we meet that's a referral, or we're door knocking to share a story and it ignites a conversation. And it's like, actually, I am really looking to make a move, but I'm a little overwhelmed right now. It's so much deeper and so much more complex. Once you've had the engagement and the opportunity, and what's beautiful about this formula, if you will, that we've created, Kevin, is it allows our team members to dip into a reservoir of support systems to build these beautiful teams around these individual stories, regardless of what that story is. And that's what I think is so exciting about this business and about the movement and trend, about what value is. I want to talk a little bit about that with you today, understanding and communicating what is valuable to the audience out there. And how do we interpret our personal value and the services like there's been a lot of discussion, right, about compensation payout that's existed for decades and decades. Everyone, if the service is valuable, then the money is no longer an issue because they understand that the outcome is weighted in a success story and they want the service during a time when service is so difficult to find out there. The customer
Mhm.
service conversation and dialogue across the board, a myriad of different businesses, has really been impacted in a negative way. And we're a very customer service centric, front focused team. So, what are your thoughts on that as you're moving into business planning with the team and you're recruiting? How do you communicate that component? Because it's such a big power play being valuable to the audience that they're serving.
Yeah. And that's a good point. And I've shared this with the team before, in my past career in my small business that I owned years and years ago. I shared the story that, every time I meet with someone at a listing appointment or appointment, to talk about your services, it's always about price right at first, right? That's usually the first question. But you steer away from that, and you focus on the value and the service, and you just really lead with that. And of course, you gotta when you gotta walk the walk, when you talk the
Yeah,
talk, right?
I
So when
think
you're
so.
talking about your value and services and you can prove that to your client, prices never even come up again.
Never.
And I've seen that in my career over and over and over again. It's just like you show them the value, you talk about the value, and then you actually do the value.
Hmm.
And the price it will never come up again. You have these return clients where 5 years ago it was all about pricing and how much does it cost, and then it's like they see the value and the price just kind of goes on the back burner. Just so important to really understand what your value is.
Hmm.
You got to be passionate about this business. You got to love
Absolutely.
helping people, which is really the root of real estate. Is you just have to love helping people. Once you love people and love the stories and sharing the stories and doing the services, it just unfolds into those great relationships, that cut then the referrals start coming in, the repeat business starts coming in. A conversation happens, and it's a friend of a friend of a friend, that hears about you.
I know.
One of our agents just had that story happen. She had a transaction last year, and it was a friend talking with another friend that knew
Hmm.
of another friend that was wanting to sell her house. So our agent had a meeting with her yesterday about listing her property. Um, so if that, again, back to that positive attitude, that really resonates with people, and it really draws and attracts people to you, keeping that good positive attitude and being authentic and just really enjoying what you do, which is helping our clients,
So
goes a long way
in
in value.
motivating, when you're talking about that with the team, when you and I are coaching our team members, a big piece of building a business, regardless of whether you've just started in the industry or you've been around for 20 plus years. The business, in my mind, the trifecta, I always call it, because there's usually three parts to all things, right? Uh, in in part, there's got to be an awareness of growth, expansion, and change, and embracing that. During this time, embracing technology, embracing social media as a platform of communicating from one to many versus just one on one, communicating truth as we're fighting the war, if you will, of social media and the news as a counterpart, because there's always newsworthy conversation that gains headline and gains an audience versus what I call, running the ditches truth, what the reality is in the day to day life of the business. And then, of course, separately, the commitment and the grit. And as we're teaching the balance of all things, it doesn't matter what you do in our world, whether you're a doctor or an attorney, or in our case, in real estate, or you're some other, Fortune 500 corporate role, the synergy, if you will, of the workflow has become more complex because of the shift in how we communicate with one another. So, one of the tools we've been teaching, Kevin and I, and you can touch on this, Kevin, is kind of going back to the old school way of communicating. Yes, we have a larger message to reach to a large audience, but then once we're one-on-one with the client, regardless of the age, would we both not agree that an actual conversation, articulating, you know, detail that's so often missed in the platforms of texting and even emailing because you lose tone and you lose clarity. I think fundamentally that's been a major, major play that's been a miss. And I think the market right now is requiring a new kind of communication awareness, and it's not obvious or common sense to many. And it's something we really talk about a lot. It's a daily conversation. So, what are your thoughts on that as that relates to the impact in a shifting market that's more difficult, more complex in the layers of negotiating going on in the marketplace, and the training tools so there's not frustration? Because there is a lot of frustration out there for this reason in my mind. So that's a long-winded kind of question, but what are your thoughts high level about that?
Yeah, we both have had this conversation daily, it seems
Mhm. Yep.
like. Being 50, right? When I was in my 20s and even early 30s, it was it was conversation. It was picking up the telephone. It was face to face, and that's how I learned how to communicate with people. And then, you know, Steve Jobs invents the iPhone, right? And that there's a place for texting, there's a place for emails, no doubt about it. But the initial, building the rapport and just building that relationship is really hard over text messages
Mhm.
or emails.
Mhm.
And the power of just picking up the telephone and having that conversation, especially like you said, when you get into negotiating, you see a text from an agent and it comes off as like, what in the world, and then you're texting back, and then pretty soon it goes into the wormhole of texting.
Yeah.
In reality,
Oh,
one phone call could have
mhm.
solved the problem and not even
Oh,
gone down that,
yeah.
that wormhole that just goes into who knows where.
Mhm.
And again, I know we talk about this a lot, but it's one of those things where you just, the training with the agents, the one-to-ones is important because they can see you on the phone. It's like, I see my agent texting and I grab their phone and I just hit the call button and they're like, and then you get them on the phone and 30 seconds later, the whole thing's resolved.
It's already done.
you know,
I know.
so training that to these
Yeah.
younger agents is super important. It's just, it is something that can be a bit frustrating with the newer agents, the younger generation that grew up, conversing on text and emails.
Mhm.
So it's really just kind of showing, walking the walk and
Mhm.
getting someone on the phone and showing them how to navigate that on the conversation.
Mhm. What
And
I think
again, and
that's powerful. That is powerful. Speaking to that, when you really start looking at money, right? How you sell real estate out there, how we prepare real estate out there, how we negotiate real estate out there. Understanding how the the art of the negotiation and the art behind creating a beautiful product more than pays for any dollars prepared to get to that point, or compensations, if you will, that go to the typical processes of commissions, if you will, the 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 labor force behind the empowerment of selling real estate. At the very beginning, what I love about this team philosophy is all of our front loading work is for the very purpose on the listing side of creating a powerful marketing platform that's valuable to the largest and best audience while navigating the very best price point to get them to the finish line for the very highest and best. And we do that over and over again. And then separately for the buyer audience, being great communicators and articulating the why behind negotiations to get them to where they are trying to go at the price point they want to achieve. That fundamentally is what we do every single day. Teaching people how to do that in a shifting market is super critical. And I think truly a lost art. A lot of the, shall I say, elders of the business who've been around for a really long time are starting to retire. And we're seeing a movement, which is wonderful to see, truly. But they really haven't had an opportunity to be exposed to much of a variety pack, if you even look 5 years back, of what real estate fundamentally really is. How does it live? How does it breathe? Who wants it? How do you sell it? How do you negotiate it? And what I love about the partnership with you, Kevin, on this team coaching team members is because of your years in the business and you'll have to share a little bit more. You've been on a couple of times, but share your back history and where you're licensed. You have a tremendous breadth and depth and knowledge level that only years can acquire. You have to be around for a long time. Uh, there'll likely be no agents that can sustain the longevity, right? When you look at the shift and trends of all of the different glitter out there, it's going to be a different future in the business of real estate and the fine art of the business, I always call it, the concierge element of what our philosophies are around, about. There's just not many of us out there anymore.
Mhm.
So in coaching people, when you interview somebody, how do you articulate that? Because we are a complex brand. We always talk about that. How do we sum up in one sentence what we do? Because it's hard to do because it's
Yeah,
complicated.
yeah, yeah. Good question is, sitting down with someone in an interview and saying, here's the situation. You're working with a prospect, not even a client yet, but you put 2 weeks of time into it, multiple phone conversations, text message, emails. And then you get a text one night and the prospect says, hey, I really been thinking about this. I'm going to go in a different direction. I appreciate all your time and effort. Thank you very much. Then I ask, what do you do? What's the next step? Do you text back and say, well, thank you, keep me in mind? Do you send them a gift and, I'm there for you? Do you email them and, say, hey, it was nice meeting you. I wish you the best. The person that says, I pick up the telephone and I give them a call and I have a real conversation of what happened, and that's what I want to hear. I want to hear someone picking up the phone. Uh, can you salvage it? Maybe not, but at least you have that conversation. And I can tell you the person on the other end, at least from my experience over the years, they appreciate that phone call.
Mm-hmm.
When I was with a brokerage as the sales director, one of my jobs every morning, and we had this was a national publicly traded company. We had cancellations that would come in and was in the property management realm of real estate. And my job was to, call the cancellations every morning. And it's funny because, you get the emails like, hey, I'm going a different direction. Hey, you guys are terrible. Hey, I can't believe that I wasted so much. You get all these things for the reason through the portal or the email.
Mm-hmm.
And then your mind is like,
Oh,
I'm
no.
done. Text, email, don't even reach back out to them. It's amazing what I learned when I called these people.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely amazing. I can tell you because we kept stats of this.
Mm-hmm.
I would say about 90 to even 92% of the time, the people were very pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh no, it wasn't exactly that. It was this.
Yeah.
And you read that wrong in emails and texts, and you just
Totally.
learn so much on the conversation. And that really was an aha moment for me, is to just really understanding like, wow, 98% of these people really aren't as mad as they said they were on
Yeah.
the email or the text, and a lot of them appreciate it. This means so much. It really shows your character, giving me a phone call and really wanting to have a conversation. And there was a lot of times I salvaged the relationship. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's because it was a communication thing, and that is usually a lot what it stemmed from is just the lack of communication. You know, the agent
Right.
didn't communicate me, or your team didn't communicate with me well. So a big aha moment in my career when I was making those phone calls and really learning the root of the problem, and how to navigate that, and just seeing kind of where it goes. Um, and that's something that, of course, gained from experience, learned from experience over the years, and but it is trainable. I mean,
Very
it's
trainable.
very easy to train. It's
It's
like,
aligning. I think it's aligning yourself. If you're looking for that kind of coaching and direction, just simply aligning yourself with you know, a team. Or I always say everybody needs a team. We're always building teams around people. All of us need a team. You and I have teams around us to help us come up with problem solving techniques and continue to grow. We're never done growing. So it's really then establishing the authentic way to communicate, learning that skill set, incorporating that piece of the learning process as it relates to this business, because it's such a big deal. And then having a team around you ongoing that you're able, we're constantly firing questions at each other every day. Like, what do we do about this? How do we solve for that? It's a constant rhythm. We have a group chat with the whole team, and we're back and forth all day long. Oh, I got this. What's going on? What am I going to do with this? And the shares are astounding to me. Like, the power behind sharing is just a superpower for people. And that's what I love so much. There was a day a long time ago when I was younger that I thought, oh, I have my own brand, I have my own business. I'm just, I was all about doing it alone. And as the business evolved and I realized the complexity and growth model, where we're going in this business and all of the layers involved to be present, it's just simply not possible. There's no better way to support your clients, in my mind, than supporting them with a customized team. And that's
mhm.
what I've loved so much about having you on board. So it has been a while since we interviewed you, Kevin. Share with everybody where you're licensed, because it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, and again, back to putting yourself in front of opportunities. Everyone
Yeah.
says, oh, Kevin, you're so lucky. You're so lucky, because a lot of good things seem to happen to me and over my career. And yeah, maybe there is a little bit of luck involved, but I can tell you that the luck happened because I put myself in front of that opportunity. Just no
Right.
doubt about it. And the positive attitude that I've kept over the years.
Mm-hmm.
But I was managing luxury homes for years. My wife and I had a small business, met some wonderful people managing their second or third or fourth, cabin.
Mm-hmm.
And really learned how to communicate really well, work with vendors, problem solve, critical thinking. All those skills really helped when I got my real estate license in 2012, um, because of a client of mine who was a broker in Minneapolis. Said, Kevin, you gotta meet my friend in Florida. He's a broker down there, and he's really doing kind of what you're doing in the property management end. You gotta hook up with him. So I took his advice after my wife and I we had sold our small business. Our business partner had took over and bought us out. And I always wanted to get my real estate license. So I got licensed in 2012. I worked for Berkshire Hathaway. Um, and then after 3 years of a top producing agent there, I had the opportunity to work for a company in Minneapolis. So I moved to Minneapolis, got licensed there. And then they started moving me around the nation over the next 8 years. Colorado got licensed there. Arizona got licensed there.
Mm-hmm.
And in January, when Edina was talking about opening up a brick and mortar down in Naples, where I first got licensed,
Mm-hmm.
it was super exciting. And asking, where is it going to be? And and then all of a sudden we find out it's in Naples, and it's in the same building
Yeah. It's
as
so
Berkshire
fun.
Hathaway, where I worked 11 years earlier.
That
Not
crazy.
only the same building, but we took the space of the division that I was in,
Yeah.
and they moved the division over into their office space.
So I
But it
got to
was,
see Kevin's office that he worked
yeah,
in
it was
over a
my
decade
old
ago.
office, and now Edina is there. I
So
mean,
crazy.
you
Small
know,
world.
it's just such a small world. But
Mhm.
again, I'm putting myself in front of these opportunities,
Right.
and I'm taking risk, right? There's a risk in moving your family cross country and starting all over again,
Yep.
from nothing.
I know.
Especially when I was really doing well in Naples and I had this opportunity to move back home to Minneapolis. And my wife and I had the conversation like, it's starting all over again at 100% commission.
Mhm.
I did join a team. I've always been part of teams when I was in real estate and loved it. But I joined a team, and I learned from my mentors and the top producers of really how to navigate and how to do it. And I was just like a big sponge. I just put myself in front of those opportunities. I, really kind of took it all in, figuring out what they're doing. I'm trying to replicate it, maybe tweak it and make it a little bit of my own.
Right.
Um,
That's the secret sauce, really.
that's the secret sauce. But
Mhm.
again, everyone's like, "Oh, Kevin, you're so lucky. You're so lucky." I'm like, "Well, there's a little bit of luck to it, but
A lot of work too.
put myself in front of that opportunity, and I keep that positive attitude. I mean,
Mhm.
I read a lot of books. I really look up to the people that are better than me. I always love to learn from the people that are better. I don't feel inferior when I'm around those people, or I don't feel like I can't do it.
Mhm.
It inspires me.
Right.
And that's a great thing to be around a team is
Mhm.
you're always learning from someone that's maybe a little bit better than you to elevate yourself.
Mhm.
And yet it's great being around a team. And like you said, sharing all the stories, and not only the success stories, but also the bad stories, right?
Mhm.
Because you
Because
learn
you
from
learn from
those.
that.
And
Mhm.
that's those phone calls back when I'm calling these angry owners that are canceling our services. It's like, tell you what, I'm giving you a call today because I really appreciated your business over the years, but what could have we have done better?
Mhm.
You learn so much from
So
those
much.
conversations,
Mhm.
and it only benefits you. And even if you tell people that, like, listen, I'm so sorry this didn't work out. I know we've been working together for like 3 weeks, but to better myself, is there anything you can share with me that I did wrong or I could have did better? Just be honest with me. I'm just trying to better myself as I move forward in this career.
Mhm.
You'd be amazed that
Right.
people will really usually be honest with you, at least
And
if you're on the
kind.
telephone. If you're on
Yeah.
the text message, maybe
Mhm.
not so much, or the email.
Yeah.
But when you're on the phone or you're in person, face to face, you can read body language, you can hear the tone.
Mhm.
Just a whole different way of conversing, and it also really brings the truth out a lot of
It
times.
really does. Because I think what's happened in this world where the bumpers have kind of been let down, there's not much filter anymore. And so many things can be spoken or misspoken, if you will, if not communicated in the right way. And so the almighty and powerful takeaway from Kevin Coulter today is pick up the phone, have a
Pick up the phone.
conversation, meet as many
Absolutely.
people as possible, and be valuable every single day.
And as an agent, Carrie Ann, and we just went through this last week and we trained this and coached this, but when you're writing an offer and you're presenting that offer to the client, of course we always, right, we have our way of doing our really nice email and getting
Mhm.
it in writing and pushing it out there, and then pick up the phone and call the agent. It's amazing when we have a listing and we're getting offers,
Mhm.
how many people don't pick up the phone, but the one
No.
agent that did pick up the phone and sent that
Mhm.
nice email and followed up with a phone call, that
Mhm.
is powerful.
It's very powerful. And like
Very
an agent we're
powerful.
working with,
Yeah.
because you can navigate through conversation in this business anyway. That's how you empower your clients, and you can get to the finish line in a
Mhm.
positive way. Can be a little bit of a tug of war, but if everyone's collaborating and in a physical communication way, not through texting, you can achieve so much more, not only with each other, but with your clients. It's so powerful. I can't say enough, and I know you
Absolutely.
can't either. It's so powerful.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, that is awesome. And in fact, I took Kevin away from one on ones today. So I'm going to let you go back at it there, Kevin, because I know you have an action-packed day, but I'm so grateful that you carved out the 30 minutes with us today, because I just always love sharing your insight during a critical time in the year where people are making big decisions as they're moving into 2024, and we are in the throes of it. We are busy. We are planning our 2024 year. We are business planning with our team, and we're loving every minute of it. So thank you, Kevin. We really appreciate you. And
You
you,
got it.
sir, have a beautiful day.
You too, Carrie Ann. Thank you very much.
Ciao.